Hello and welcome to We Got a podcast about Dragon Ball from A to Z, from Earth to Namek to Sadala. We cover it all. My name is Randy.
And I'm limited edition goatee Doug.
And I'm the guest who never left, Ken.
We're the world's strongest under the heavens trio de dangers here every other week to talk your ear off about fights, goofs, and everything else in the Dragon Ball cosmos. But we're also joined by a special guest, MistareFusion. How are you doing here today?
I'm doing fantastic. My belly is full, and I'm ready to talk about the GTs.
Yes.
That's the ideal
perfect. So, do you prefer MistareFusion or any other name that you want people to know about?
You can call me MistareFusion, or you can call me Lance, or you can call me that weird weeb who uses all those names that piss people off when I talk about Dragon Ball.
That's about 75% of us here anyway, so you're fine.
It's true. It's very
Pawn.
true. The infamous Pawn.
Well, what else would you call her? I don't understand the question.
It's just
I've never heard anything else.
How they pronounce it is a little off.
I can't wait
Lance,
till we get to the evil
Lance
dragons.
is one of our people. Sorry, it said Lance.
Our people. What does that mean?
The proper way to pronounce character names.
The only Hispanic man here.
You're claiming that name. Ken, you said you're eager to get to the evil dragons.
Oh yeah,
I assume because
we'll be using the
names.
Chinese names, and then Doug will be like, "Oh yeah,
no.
Sin Shenron."
Oh no! I have to pull my box of him and read his name on the thing.
Can't look up a wiki or look on Kanzenshuu.com for character names. Doug has to reach into his figure stash. Let me cross-reference my figures real quick.
That's much easier to do than have a dictionary or a guide. Just have a stack of figure boxes.
I know where everything is.
Conveniently flip through.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got your system, and whatever works for you, Doug. I'm proud of you, and I support you.
Thank you very much.
Endeavors.
I need that support.
So normally we'd be talking more about GT because we've been watching it, reviewing it as we go through it. But we're taking a little break to do more GT content because why not? Actually, Lance, you've been doing Dragon Ball Dissection and covering GT, and we actually happen to be synced up at around the same point in coverage. So we thought, hey, let's invite you on and talk about it. So obviously you do Dragon Ball Dissection, but who are you and what do you do?
That's a very personal question.
Yo, what did you do today at 3 a.m.?
We like to get close and intimate here on We Got a Podcast.
Oh, well, if that's the case.
Hey, let's go.
Well, maybe some of you who are listening might know me. I do a YouTube channel called MistareFusion. That's why they call me MistareFusion. It's synchronicity like that. But among other things I do on my channel, I have a long-running series called Dragon Ball Dissection that I started in 2012 and is still ongoing because I don't know why. I think I made a deal with the devil at some point, and
has it been since 2012? That's incredible.
January 2012.
Been holding in my gush, Lance, but I've been listening to Dragon Ball Dissection since the beginning, and I've been loving it since the beginning. I can't get some of it's been ingrained in my head when we talk about GT now. I'm like, did Lance say that, or is that my own opinion? I forget at that point.
Well, here's the thing. It's perfect that you guys reached out to me now because we are synced up, because I know that any day now you're going to be zooming far ahead of me, just like everybody else does. But just so, because I started, I'm not sure when you guys started GT. I started last December, technically last October, because I had an intro video to it. But I started in December. I'm assuming I think you guys have been doing it a shorter amount of time than that.
I want to say June
this year-ish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep in mind.
So yes, you are going to pass me probably in the next 5 seconds or so. But anyway, I got off topic a little bit. I do a series called Dragon Ball Dissection where I have been analyzing Dragon Ball from the very beginning, and as I just said, last fall/winter, I made it to Dragon Ball GT. So I've been covering that for the past 13, 14 episodes or so. 13, 14 videos of my series. And now, as you have said, we happen to be synced up right around this whole baby kerfuffle thing happening.
One of the things I love doing after we record, I watch your show to catch up where you're at, and then I will go and listen to the Kanzenshu review of awesomeness, which we are also purposefully keeping the same like set of episodes that they do.
I've been doing that too. Not the keeping the same set of episodes, but I have, for research purposes, often gone back to the review of awesomeness and gone, okay, let me make sure there's nothing that I missed here. What? Some sort of production note that I had no idea was going on. Let me, just trying to mine as much data as I can.
Yeah.
It's a treasure trove of information, even though a lot of wrong opinions. I'm going to say it. Hot take. Putting Mike and the crew over at Kanzenshu on blast
Very
for that.
old opinions. You could say that. You could say it. They're old.
Right. I mean, at this point, if you go back and you listen to older episodes of the Kanzenshu podcast review of awesomeness for GT,
Don't
they're
say
the same age that we are now.
Don't.
So.
I just said don't.
Just saying. That's how time works. Doug.
Time doesn't work that way, Randy. We're young forever.
Is there that much of a generation gap here? We're all fairly contemporary.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
the three of us are all 35, and I don't keep track of everybody's age. I want to say Mike is few years above.
Let's just say, yeah.
By a
Yeah,
number.
he is.
More seasoned.
See, you're all three of you are 35, huh?
Coincidentally, yeah.
That's nice.
Are you also 35?
No.
We can move on if you don't want to disclose.
No, I'm a little bit older than the three of you. I'm a little bit younger, I believe, a few years younger than Mike. I'm right in the middle.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. We're all millennials.
I can live with that.
So also normally at the start of the show, we do a little bit of personal catch up. So I want to do that if that's cool. Starting with Doug, what have you been up to, my man?
I finally got games I can say that I'm playing because Ever Crisis came out, and I've been loving that Final Fantasy on the mobile app. I'm a sucker for gacha games, so I have got 3 of the exclusive like Japanese sword, the Murasame. I've already unlocked 3 of those. And yeah, I'm like level 50 I'm sorry, level 38 right now. So
wow.
loving that. I'm playing Starfield. I didn't know if it was my kind of game, but everyone's clamoring about it, all the buzz around it. I'm like, for $10 on Game Pass, it's worth a try. Now that I have a nice new graphics card that Randy sold me for a very good price. Thank you very much, buddy. I wanted to test it out. The problem is that because I'm not a PC player, I don't ever look at like the minimum specs for a game. I just always assume I can't play it. But now I have this graphics card. I'm like, okay, I should be able to run this even at the lowest setting. Let me just boot it up. But I installed it on a hard drive. The minimum spec is a SSD. I didn't know that, so playing the game, everything's stuttering, everything is going slow, the voice is off. It's a mess. And I'm like, I still can't play games. But no, I just need to download it install it on an SSD, and it's running smooth as butter now. So it's great.
Oh, good.
And I don't know if I love the game or not. Not that it's saying it's a bad game. It's not my type of game. Like I'm more of like a 2D, like Dave the Diver kind of game, and Ever Crisis are my kind of game. But I'm slowly enjoying it, so I'm getting there.
Good. I'm glad that you're digging it and getting your usage out of it.
Yes.
Unlocking a whole new world of games to play. Ken, what about you? What's been new?
Well, Lance, I'm glad you're here for this because I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh,
And
that turned a totally different way.
another great show you do called Mighty Morphin Zoo Ranger.
Yes.
And just what you have done to my wallet by getting me back into Power Rangers as an adult with disposable income has really not been good. But do check out this dragon sword. Look at that.
It looks so good.
1, that is very beautiful, and 2, I take no responsibility for what adults do with their own money. I have no control over you, but that
You're
does look
butterfly
fantastic.
affecting because I watch it too, but now Ken's double dipping on me by showing me figures. I'm like, I can't resist a good figure.
I honestly,
I'm trying not to.
like a year ago, I went to order because I'm doing like an Oops All Tommy collection back here. And so I was going to order the Green Ranger and White Ranger figures, and I was like having a panic attack about whether or not I wanted to buy them. And I bought them anyways, but So
That's how I solve my panic attacks too. I just buy them.
Then you get a new panic attack in like a month when you get your credit card statement.
Yeah, when rent is due, when the mortgage is due.
For me, let's see, games and stuff. I mean, Yakuza 0, playing that still, slowly.
Still enjoying
carefully.
it?
Yes, it's excellent. So I'm glad that I got back on that train. Star Wars Jedi Survivor went on sale, so I picked that up and started that. I mean, like, I love me some Star Wars. I love that first one. So, but I was just waiting for, a little bit of a discount and a new PC patch that made things a little bit better. So now I've made the mistake. I'm playing like 4 games at once, like in my current playing list. I'm like,
I just feel like that's your constant state of life. I always assume you're playing 4 games at once and beating them all within a week. I don't know how you have the time.
I try not to exceed 2 at a time, but I just got to pick one and stick with it.
Randy, guess how many games I'm playing?
1.
0. I dropped Starfield, so I'm playing 0 games.
Nice.
And it feels great.
I can't imagine. I've always got something cooking. But besides that, I know that I talked about a lot. I'm just very excited. I picked up a Stream Deck, which weirdly is different than a Steam Deck. And now I've made, a whole letter, but except for functionality is entirely different. So instead of playing video games, I can make a soundboard, and it's the best thing ever. So I could, I don't know, Ken, I know you love this dude.
You're cooler.
So Cooler, he's there. And a whole bunch of other dumb things. So it'll be fun, and I'll introduce it here, and I'll try not to go whole hog on it. And if it's annoying,
I'll do more.
My guest hosts will let me know.
Or
I'll
please let us know in the
listeners.
comments if you want Randy to stop or increase.
That's
please
true.
don't pin this on me. I'm far too polite to ever complain about anything. Really, I'm a guest. I just want everybody to be happy.
You came to the wrong
Bleed
podcast.
before you say anything.
This is the one where we declare war on each other, and I'm sorry that you had to be here for it.
That's coming. The war is coming. The
Randy,
movie
that's
6.
your cue,
Civil
Randy.
War.
Hit that button.
Yeah.
You're cooler. Not that
Not
one.
that one.
Whatever. Give me the Stream Deck.
Yeah.
That's me.
Oh,
that's
dude,
me
do the
punching Ken.
RoboCop theme.
The RoboCop theme? I think Lance thinks that this is the RoboCop theme. Listeners will remember this. That's the Johto song. That's not RoboCop.
It's the RoboCop theme. It really is. I don't know what these Pokemon people think they're trying to get away with. But
I'm going to have to look up the RoboCop theme after this.
Definitely.
We just got to figure it out. Lance, you do Dragon Ball Dissection, but how about in life? How are things going? What's new?
oh God, what's new?
If that's too personal,
no,
you don't
no,
have to.
no,
You're just
no.
the guest.
No, most of what is new. I'll do the bad first, and then I'll actually segue into something that's more positive. But the bad stuff
All
is that my computer crashed a couple weeks ago, and then when I tried to load the backup from an external hard drive, it also crashed. And the whole doing a YouTube channel and having all of my assets from the past decade and a half stored on these things, have that become rather tenuous, made me want to curl into a ball and die. So speaking of Mighty Morphin Jew Rangers, I really hope that I still have all the elements, like the little lightning background and the footage border and the opening animation and all the Rangers colors that I made 3 years ago. I hope they still
many
exist.
templates. God.
Yeah. Oh.
So it's been a lot of stress and hundreds of dollars for data recovery and buying new hard drives and learning a new editing software because I just happened to buy a new computer for another reason, which was a Windows machine, and I edit on Mac. And it's like, well, I use Final Cut to edit, so I can't do that here. So let's spend this week learning how to edit on DaVinci Resolve instead and hope I can get a video out in time. So that's been most of what's been going on lately. But other than that, I've been working on my costumes for New York Comic Con next month. And that's exciting.
Nice.
And since we're all talking about what games we're playing, I've been a really big fan lately of Super Lesbian Animal RPG,
I do. I see you tweeting about that, yeah.
I've never heard
which
of
is
that.
also one of my costumes I'm doing for New York Comic Con.
Nice.
But it's really cute. It's a fun RPG kind of in this, like, it sounds like it would be lascivious or even maybe a hentai game. I swear it's not. It's totally not.
Not that there's nothing wrong with that. Trust me.
No, I'm not saying there is, but I don't want people to get the wrong idea in case they, but it's very similar in style and tone and graphical fidelity to like something like Earthbound or Undertale. That's sort of a irreverent humor and sort of meta jokes, and but it also it can be sort of emotional too, just like Earthbound can be. So I've been loving that game so much lately. So if you love old school RPGs, then there you go.
Nice.
We're just, I think, flooded with those. Not to say that it's a bad thing. I think it's great because we got that. Last year we had this game called Chained Echoes, which was like an indie JRPG or GRPG because I believe the creator was German. But that one was super good. We just had this other game called Sea of Stars that came out that I really want to sink my teeth into. But again, I'm already playing like 4 things, and it's RPGs can be long and a time sink, so I have been reticent to do that. But now I've got another one.
I got news for you. Like this one you can finish in 15 to 20 hours 100% it. So
wow.
Oh my god.
Add it,
yes.
Randy. Add it to the list.
Adding it to the list. What was the name again?
A Super Lesbian Animal RPG.
All right, perfect. I'm getting it tonight.
And
probably.
we'll check in on future episodes.
It's on Steam, $15.
Oh, well, you're speaking my love language now, Lance. Be careful. That's
an easy add to cart.
Well, awesome. Now I've got more things to spend money. See, this is what you did. You're making Ken buy figures. You're making me buy Steam games.
I'm just saying words. I can't help it if I'm persuasive.
That's what it is. That's what manipulation is.
It's true. Oh, geez. Well, anyway, getting to the meat of this episode, instead of the Dragon Ball GT retrospective of auspiciosity, this is going to be the Dragon Ball GT retrospective. We're looking back at GT that we've done so far, our thoughts, feelings, histories past with it. And hey, wouldn't you look at that? It's episode 64, which is exactly how many episodes of GT there are. So it's a happy
You're a sucker
accident.
for numbers. Yeah.
It's true. So, we've been in the GT mines for the last few months doing our reviews, and you've been doing Dragon Ball Dissection for, coming up on a year now. What compelled you to do Dissection of GT? Because I know that you've done Dragon Ball before in the past, but like there's other Dragon Ball stuff that you could dissect, like
Heroes.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't. You're right. I can't believe I passed up that one. But I before I answer that, I do have to say I love that you said let's get to the meat of this, because I actually I did the same thing in my most recent script that I'm working on right now, and I had to stop myself and make a joke about that because I'm right at the point where I'm talking about the Saiyans and the Tsufurians, and I'm like, wait a second, there's no meat in here at all. This is the fruits and the vegetables. GT is very much a fruits and vegetable show. There's no meat in Dragon Ball GT.
The only meat that we know of is Planet Meat, where Bardock goes and gets his butt kicked. So, and that's not
in the show. Yeah.
No, exactly.
But yeah, sorry. But you asked what got me into GT as opposed to Heroes. I'm sorry.
What a question.
The most basic answer is that yes, I've been doing Dragon Ball Dissection for a long time, and going through the series chronologically. I was running out of the original manga. And I do things in release order. So Heroes, I'm not going to bash on Heroes anymore, mostly because I really haven't seen it, so I really can't say too much bad about it. But it would have been off the table anyway, just because if I was going to ever do it, it would be well after GT and Super and yada yada yada.
Good luck.
But the fact of the matter is I was getting to the end of what I was doing in Dragon Ball Dissection, and I needed to do the next thing because I'd gotten used to eating every day.
Rookie mistake. Trust me.
So there was that. But also, I did want to for one reason, because I had a few years ago, due to a Patreon goal, and thank you to everybody for that, I covered a little something called Saiyajin Zetsumetsu Keikaku, or Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans, which I'd never really had like delved into in any way, shape, or form before. So it was kind of a new territory for me, and I learned a lot going through, like watching a 4-hour playthrough of the Famicom game and watching every version of it, every animated version of it, and learning a lot. But as I'm sure you probably know, Dragon Ball GT borrows a lot.
Yeah.
From Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans. It kind of builds its entire villain narrative around that. So kind of once I had done that, it was like, wow, this was fascinating. I kind of want to have the other shoe drop at some point. But on top of those two things, it was just kind of a new challenge for me, because most of what I'd covered, Saiyajin Zetsumetsu Keikaku aside, were things that I kind of knew by heart. Like the Dragon Ball manga is something that I can just rattle off anything to. GT is something that I have never had as much of a connection to, or at least not as much of a memorization aspect of it. So it was kind of a new challenge to tackle, and also just going from manga to anime. There was, I'd covered the animated Dragon Ball in my DVD TV spin-off stuff, but it was always kind of a passing through, like, here's some filler stuff, here are a few production tidbits, but never like really in depth. And it's been a very different thing to have to so many more aspects to cover than on a manga, and so it's been exciting to really get to explore Dragon Ball in a new way. I hope it's been that way for you guys as well.
Would you say it's more time consuming doing that? Because with manga you can read it at your own pace, but with anime you're just watching it 20 minutes per episodes and you're stuck to that.
Yes, that is something that it's been difficult to get used to, and I knew that was going to be an issue for me, because it was always so convenient. I mean, I always had like digital scans of the manga when I was working on Dragon Ball Dissection, but I could just walk up to my bookshelf and I knew exactly, like, I need to get volume 32, flip through right here, and
can't do that. Can't do that.
Yeah.
When he needs to find out the spaceship, the Namekian spaceship.
Oh yeah,
what page that's
I was on that
volume?
exact page. Yeah,
but it's so fast to just flip through a book. But like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, what episode is such and such in GT or anything really? And it's like, okay, let me open my folder or pop in a DVD, and is it in this episode? I got to slowly scan through this. And
also, because you're not so familiar with it, it is harder to like, what area is that in? Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, in order to sort of ameliorate that, I just created this huge document file. That I swear to God, that better not have been lost.
Oh no!
I don't think it is. This huge document file where I would just like the most detailed synopses of every Dragon Ball GT episode I could possibly, as detailed as I could possibly make it. Every interesting line, every little action, just so I'd have something that I could like Control F. And like look for a word and go, okay, this is when that happens. Oh, okay, that's so much. It takes so much time in the front end to make. Makes watching every episode a huge chore. Once I have it,
I always thought about making something like that for like, because when I used to make AMVs, I've always like, when does Goku make this dumb face? He makes it this one time. I wish I could just like have a documentary of like every time Shenron is summoned or like what episode that is on, just to like get those clips and everything. But that's such a daunting task. I can't imagine.
I can't imagine the amount of editing just to grab all of those screenshots, because I put some screenshots into the YouTube version of this podcast, and then I color correct them to a certain extent, and then I adjust the levels on them because GT's so grayed out and
You
dark
edit
and,
those videos all yourself, right?
Yes, I do.
It's
so much
it's so
time,
impressive. It's
And-
so
and
I
that-
love them.
No, that's another one that I'm pretty sure all these are recovered, but I was panicking because I have, screen caps, thousands of screen caps from every Dragon Ball arc date I've been taking for the past 10, 11 years. And if I had lost that entire archive, I would probably just quit today and get a real job.
So demoralized. Yeah.
But yeah, no, for GT, I've been. I knew there was no way I could front load that, so I really have just been going video by video, and on the rare occasion I need something from a later episode than what I'm covering, then I'll grab that, and then I'll just, because for GT I have everything separated in folders, like every 4 episodes or so. I think I'm doing, just otherwise it would just be too messy, especially because like if you're making screen caps in VLC. There's like the default is that it organizes them by date and by time. So if I was to just dump them all into a folder like that and not separate them by episode, especially if I'm doing stuff out of order, then it's like I would never find,
because the file names are just like 20 letters and then that's it.
Yeah, it's like VLC
.jpeg.
VLC 20230912. So yeah, if I don't organize them by episode, then they would just, like, the ones that I would make out of order would just get lost and I would never find them again.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, Media Player Classic, when you take screen caps with that, includes the file name and your timestamp.
Oh.
So just something to keep in mind.
Just to add the file name in case that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think your way is better, just having 4 episodes in a folder. And then
I mean, like I could always go back and manually retitle each individual one.
that took a week.
Yeah, but since 90% of my screen caps are in order of the episodes, it's easier just to leave them like that, and most of them are there. Just it'd be like following the episode in Viewmaster format or Animanga format is basically what it ends up being.
Right. So you said you're not as familiar with GT as you are with the manga. What is your story with GT? Have you seen it before? Once, twice? Or had it been a long time? What is your story?
Hey,
Dub,
see,
Japanese?
I read the outline and I purposely ended that last one because I knew it would roll into your next question. Look at me, I'm prepared.
Randy loves segues, so you're doing him a favor.
I'm bad at them, but boy, do I love them.
He points him out every time it's a good one. That ruins the whole segue portion. But
But I believe I heard you ask Doug if it was in Japanese. Is that what you?
Doug asked,
yeah.
English, dub, sub, how have you experienced it before?
Yeah, I've almost, to answer that because that's the easier one. I've seen almost nothing of the dub of Dragon Ball GT. The most I've seen of it is I was doing my timeline episode over Christmas, trying to put all those pieces together.
You're speaking Ken's love language now.
No, yeah, because I saw you made a lovely tweet about that episode a few weeks or maybe a month or so ago, and it warmed my heart so much. But no, I was trying to find the source for that. Dragon Ball GT is 10 years after Dragon Ball thing, and I had so many people assure me it's like, oh yeah, it's in the dub, it's in the dub. And so I was like just skimming through early episodes trying to find any reference to that, and I couldn't. And like, oh no, it's in the recap episode. And so I found like a GBA, when they made like the Game Boy Advance. That's the only upload of that I could find on a video site was the GBA pixelated, like really low res, really bit compressed version of it. And I watched that and like, nope, no 10 years in that either. But that's the most of the dub I've seen, was just trying to find 10 years. Beyond that, I have not seen the dub at all. But for the broader question, I had already stopped watching the dubs in general a few years before GT started. I think I'd stopped by 2000, and GT was like 2003, I believe.
Yeah.
In the States. I picked up, so I wasn't watching it on TV, but I picked up some of the DVDs. I had just a few. Wait, no, sorry. We got to go back way before that. fan subs. Sorry. I was collecting fan subs. I was mostly interested in early Dragon Ball stuff that hadn't come over yet, as well as seeing stuff in Z that I either hadn't seen or that I knew were like heavily censored and I wanted to get. Like, so I was getting like 21st Tenkaichi Budokai. I was getting Great Saiyaman. Those were among my first tapes. Then I got like the Saiyan fight because that was one of my favorite things, and I wanted to see what Dragon Ball Z Uncensored have been telling me I've been missing all this time. But I decided I should probably pick up a GT tape as well. So I got the first 4 episodes of GT, and I got to the end of that tape, and I never had a desire to pick up another GT tape again.
Wow. Wow, no. Understandable, but at the time.
But when it came to the States, I did pick up a few of the baby era DVDs. And then I got, before we had like the bricks or like real collected box sets, Funimation would repackage the singles in boxes. And so I have the entirety of the Dark Dragon stuff.
Oh, okay,
just in this giant cardboard, but I think it's back here somewhere.
It's like two sets of like 5 DVDs in like 2 boxes. I think.
Like I can pull it out right now if you want me to do it.
My memory is just shoddy, but I think I bought them as they were coming out, so I didn't wait for the box set to release. So I bought like individual DVD.
Yeah, I think they did that with Z as well, because I remember them doing it with the tapes.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
So I had all of this, but so I'd seen a patchwork of GT. The first 4 episodes, a little bit of Baby, and then the final story arc. It wasn't until towards the end of 2018, I had somebody send me the entirety of GT, which I have now lost. But I was already making plans in advance of, what if I ever end up doing GT on Dragon Ball Dissection? At this point, I was still in the Cell arc. But I decided to sit down and finally watch the entire series from beginning to end, now that I had the entire series at my disposal. And I live tweeted it at the time. It took me several months, and this is what I meant when I said earlier, you're going to pass me up like everybody else does, because of this. Like, several months into my watch, one of my friends, Gabby Mozilla Vulpix, started doing a GT watch on Twitter as well. And she, just blew through me in like a few weeks, and I've never been great at binging things. I take months to do what normal people take days or weeks to do. So I think my run of GT was like from September of 2018 to maybe like March of 2019 before I finished it.
See, I'm grateful that we're not binging GT. I feel like the way that we've been pacing ourselves with it is like the perfect way to enjoy the show.
Because then your opinion gets too broad. Like, just this whole saga is this. Now we can appreciate each episode and point out things and talk about specific things. Yeah, sit with it.
But that's pretty much my story. I've watched it then, and I've rewatched at least up through the Baby arc now. Before I started covering Dragon Ball GT, I rewatched all that again. I compiled all my tweets in that same document I was just telling you about. So in between each episode that I have my giant notes, I also have, hey, maybe I had some good insights here that I don't want to forget about. So threw in all those tweets as well. And sometimes I pull them up in a Dragon Ball Dissection video to say, hey, well, this didn't age well, or something like that.
Sometimes I go through Twitter and I delete a whole bunch of my old tweets. Like, I want to be positive, so I'll delete any tweet that had the word hate in it or something, right? And then I go through, but then I did a DBZ rewatch about 2018, and then I'll come across like, Kudiden hates this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I'm not deleting that tweet. That's history. I need to leave that. Then I go to the next one.
Then he deleted the tweet, Randy, that said that he hates movie 6, and then that's out of here.
It's true.
No, I was about to say, because all your plan to eradicate the Saiyan tweets would just be completely out the window, because that's all about, Lychee hates this, Sufurians hate the Saiyans, and everything's about hate.
I guess the general hate for like GT that we all had, it does for all of us. It feels like a challenge to go back and watch it because we're just all in a different mindset now. So I think it's like the perfect time to rewatch GT.
And it's because it's been a while for me too. I'd last watched it like 13 years ago.
Well, despite what I said, I don't know. I don't really hate GT, even with that fan sub experience. I didn't hate it. It was just like, okay.
It happened.
There's a lot that I respect about GT, or a lot that I look at and feel intrigued by.
When before we started doing the review of these episodes, or retrospective, sorry, for copyright, my lawyer is telling me I have to use the right word. Before we started this, we did like an episode covering like what our experiences with GT before we started watching. And I remember at the time I said GT always felt like a bootleg product to me. And so as such, up until even now, I have not seen all of GT. I haven't seen a single full episode of the Super 17 stuff. I haven't seen most of the Evil Dragon stuff. I haven't seen a lot of the connective tissue of these baby episodes that we've been in. And so I've been loving watching it this time, and I don't feel that way anymore. I don't feel like it's a bootleg product. It feels like natural.
2023, we're in a different age. Yeah, for me, like I watched it all before, but dubbed. So this is my first time going through it, watching it in Japanese, and just the appropriate tone, I should say, that it belongs into, like a fun, happy adventure with some action in it, as opposed to like this time on GT, like that whole sets the tone and it sets it badly.
I hate to say that I've already watched the 4 episodes that we're about to review next time. Mm-hmm. And Doug, like you're saying about the Japanese performances in particular, sell GT so much better than my previous understanding of the dub of GT. And there's a scene with Goku, Gohan, and Goten, and Nozawa just switching between these performances that are all so distinct and really don't even sound like the same person voicing them. And
that's so great. Yeah, especially because all 3 of those characters are now like quote unquote adults. The adult Nozawa voice.
Mature. Yeah.
Right. Instead of like, kid Goten or anything like that. Wow, I can't wait to watch that then. I'm lacking on my homework as usual.
So that's been a fun surprise.
I have no idea. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's just been kind of like a fun surprise for these performances that we're getting to experience, either for the first time in a while or for like Doug, who's never seen it in Japanese before. But I was just going to ask, like, what sort of surprises have you come across in diving into it this go around?
Well, I was curious, especially just jumping off what Ken just said. Because when I was watching this batch of episodes, or around where you guys are right now, I was surprised at how there were some moments in the Gohan Goten fight where I could not tell them apart. and I posted on Twitter, and actually all my social media and in my Discord, the one image of Super Saiyan Gohan and one image of Super Saiyan Goten, and I challenged people to guess which one was which, and hand to God, I'd say at least 80% of the people got it wrong.
Yeah, for understandably, because they do look like the other character, especially both of them shirtless and everything. You can't.
Mm-hmm. Studio Carpenter.
yes, yeah, you're right. It was a Studio Carpenter episode. But they both do have like a similar, like they go in different directions. They're supposed to, and yes,
they're supposed to.
Carpenter, but it is still pretty similar, even just in design. But yeah, if you're not actually paying attention to that angle, then when they're Super Saiyans and they're not wearing their outfits because they've all gotten all naked, then and you draw the hair not great, then it's
the distinguishing feature of these characters.
Because they've all got same face, so that's just how it's going to be.
But no, my biggest surprise, especially coming as someone who more recently has really liked this character, say in Dragon Ball Superhero. I don't think it's a terribly unpopular opinion, but Pon can be terrible sometimes. And it's like I root for her because she is our viewpoint character, and she's set up with so much wonderful potential, so many story opportunities in which to go. But like their big comedic thing in the first half of the story is just, oh, she don't like that robot. And isn't this funny how much she doesn't like the robot? And it just I don't know how you guys feel about this, but it drives me crazy. Like it's just this show, in a general sense, when it's trying to do violent comedy, it just cannot do it with the same sort of aplomb that Toriyama does. Or like the Tex Avery cartoons, any kind, like Three Stooges. Like there are people, like there are many generations of like slapstick perfection of how you just get the tone right, you get the level of violence to an appropriately cartoony level, you have the reactions just perfectly, that it never feels too real. And GT just sort of hovers in this weird area where it's just too violent to be like, oh, that's cute, but not big enough that it doesn't come across as anything other than abusive. And so it's like she's just beating up this terrified robot who's begging for mercy and just trying to be this good little boy, like, please don't hurt me, and it's not funny. It's just terrifying.
That may be I'm just thinking about this now, but like they're trying to give her the Bulma character. It's the Bulma and Oolong dynamic, but Oolong is a pervert who deserves to be hit. Whereas Giru doesn't really deserve it. Like you said, he's just an innocent little robot. And because Pan is the main character, in for a better term, instead of Goku, to see the main character do this constantly doesn't vibe right. With Bulma, she's like the side character, so it's okay. But as her, the main focus, it doesn't work the same way.
Yeah, well, you always want characters that are evenly matched, and like Oolong, because both Bluma and Oolong are pretty. I call her Bluma in case we haven't established that.
We love it.
They're both sort of awful people in their own way. They are manipulative and they are greedy and they are always trying to one up each other. And Oolong, yes, he deserves what he gets, but he can also give back as well. There's never a point where he, like, even though they like take him and force him to come along on this trip, there's never like this moment where it gets real and he's like, I miss my family. Right. I'm so sad. Like you can't my
harem of wives.
You can't make it too real. Like he feels put upon. He doesn't feel like he's emotionally traumatized by anything, Like there's a way to do it. And
which
this
is so funny that the
show,
robot is the one that feels emotionally traumatized.
Yeah. It's like you just feel bad for him because he's just trying so hard to be just the best gosh darn friend he can be. And there's that moment in episode 15 or 16, I believe, where it's like they finally have it out in the desert and like Trunks is like, you did a great job, Giru. And he's like, when Pon's not angry, things are safer. And it's supposed to be this big laugh moment. And it's like, God, somebody call Robot Protective Services here.
That's the call for help that some of the child says. Like, no.
It's like, would you stop having him cry for help if you want this to be funny? I don't know. Maybe
every Japanese husband related to that apparently at that time. That's what the character's based on.
Oh God. Yeah. So it's like there's so many ways you could do that and like have her feel put upon and have her feel like she's not appreciated and have her grow as a person. And sometimes you get that, but sometimes it's just like, I don't want to hate this person, but sometimes it's really hard not to. And I want to like her so much. I really do, because she is just such a pivotal character. She's like the one who really has an arc. And if you mess up that arc, then it's like, what do you really have going for you?
Yeah. Right. I also put here disappointments you've had. Maybe something you were looking forward to here in GT, and then you're just like, well, this bumps me out.
Well, I guess I think I'd have to jump. I mean, because that was a disappointment, to be sure. But,
hey, you know what? Sometimes surprises are not great. They can also be disappointing.
Surprisingly disappointed.
You got it.
I mean, like a minor one is that I like this is kind of small potatoes, but I was surprised how I felt the first time I saw that the opening had changed. And I'm talking about this in the video I'm working on right now. So your audience might get this before my audience does, but
we got exclusive scoops here.
Yeah,
More reason to go and watch your episode when it comes out.
Exactly.
but I just remember feeling very, because I knew, because having watched the first 4 episodes all those years ago and having seen the end of the series, I knew that it happened. But when it did, one, it was a surprising moment because it was kind of in the middle of a story beat. It was like, we're on Earth, Gohan's getting slapped around for no good reason, and then and then all of a sudden, right in the middle of that, we get a new opening, and now it's all baby focused at the end, and we got Super Saiyan 4 like 10 episodes before that actually happens, which I get that they're hyping all that up, and that's fine, but I remember feeling very melancholy about that, because you can say, and I've said plenty myself about whether or not the initial direction of the show was working, but it did feel like this was a hard dividing line, where it was like, okay, this is the moment where we're like, okay, we've given up. Maybe not on the show as a whole. I'm not saying, we've given up on the show, but we've given up on what we envisioned the show to be, and we're never going back to that. It's never going to be Goku, Trunks, Pan, and Giru again. It's never going to be their adventures. We're never going to see them fight that big giant knight that got replaced in the opening. That's never going to happen. And like, as I love that final shot of the opening where it is those 4 characters on a space backdrop. That excites me for some reason. I love that combination of characters. I hope this isn't too spoilery, but like, Trunks is pretty much done from this point on.
Yeah.
He's over. Like, Pan and Giru will come back in for. I mean, Giru's pretty much done too, aside as just being a Dragon Radar. But so it feels like it's very bittersweet to me that it's like, this is the moment right here. We're on Earth, and now Super Saiyan 4 is our focus. That's the only thing we care about, is getting to this transformation. That's what we're hyping up, and that's in no way. My opinion on the form itself, that's its own thing,
Right.
But just the idea that this is where we are now, and there's no going back. There's no other chance to get this to work. We've crossed the Rubicon, and now the series is forever chasing those Z dreams, and
Yeah.
does it ever really catch them? Maybe, kinda.
Would you say it's like switching over from like Pan as the main character to Goku time? Now it's like that's shifted over. We gave up on Pan. Now we're going back to Goku.
I don't know. I mean, I'd say to an extent it's always kind of been Goku time. And it's not as if, because like, I know like Pan definitely has major focus for the rest of this story arc and for the rest of the series, really. Not yes and no, because as it becomes more fight focused, there's less for her to do, but she's
Right.
always present. She's always contributing to something. She's always still kind of the viewpoint character in a lot of ways,
As opposed to Trunks.
as opposed to Trunks, who that's my biggest disappointment, because I feel like I might be the only person in the world who really likes GT Trunks.
Despite him being kind of, all over the place for writing, because sometimes it's like, well, this is an extension of young Trunks during the Boo arc, or we'll forget about it, and it's like, well, actually, no, he's more like future Trunks, and he's more serious. I still also like him, and that was kind of one of my disappointments, was for some reason I expected or thought or whatever for the last time I watched GT that there was a lot more exasperated Trunks. Like, he's the only adult out of this group, despite Goku being there, even though he's a kid. I'm like, these kids. Like, I was expecting a lot more of that, and I don't know. Maybe
But it makes him the stick in the mud. Like, they have to be the
straight
responsible
man.
one. The straight man. No, he's always like, we shouldn't do this or whatever. It's like, no, Trunks used to be the bad boy or like the spoiled brat. Now he's a regular, responsible adult. Boring, but I don't know.
Trunks was also my disappointment.
No, he hasn't had enough focus in the episodes where he is one of the stars. But I just remember, I think it's in the episodes you guys are coming up to right now, which is when Trunks goes back to Capsule Corporation, and he immediately gets infected, and then Giru gets smashed into a wall. And even though I had not really seen much of the rest of the arc when I came into this 5 years ago, I knew that was a turning point moment where it's like, yeah, this is not just to stir up drama. This is writing these characters out of the show.
Wow.
They're done. They are done. And you don't see Giru again until the very last episode of the story arc. Like, Trunks at least has like a couple of moments beyond just being a villain henchman for the rest of the arc. He does have a moment towards the end. But Giru does not show up until just the very, very end. He's just there. Oh, you're back again. Yay. Hello. Yay. Our little robot friend we haven't mentioned in like 15 episodes. So yeah, I've mentioned in my show that I like how GT very gradually shifts from adventure to fighting. There's the doll cult, and then we have the planet, and then we introduce a villain, but there's a villain behind the villain, and it's very gradual, except for right here, where it's just, we throw the robot into a wall. That's as hard a line as you can get. Like, yeah, it's over. It is, the good times are over now. Bye-bye. We're sorry we're sorry we got rid of the rest of the cast. They're back now. Please forgive us. We're going to give you the same stuff you had before. Please watch our show.
I wonder how much of that is like audience reaction to it, like at the time, like the data that they got or whatever that showed that people aren't watching, so we have to change it up. I wonder how much of that was because of that.
Their response would not have been immediate enough, I don't think.
Yeah.
No?
We've heard and been told, I can't remember exactly where the information came from, that they were in the planning stages and they had 13 episodes like planned out for where things are going to go.
26.
26. That's what it was. Sorry, 26 episodes of like where this is going to go. And by the time they were like 3 episodes in, they were like, we got to switch. We got to start changing things up.
Which is they must mean like the 3rd episode of Omega, and not like the 1st episode of Omega. And they're like, this is not working.
Yeah, see, I was wondering about that too when I got to that, because 3 episodes, they would already, like, by the time the 3rd episode air, or by the time they'd made the 3rd episode, I probably wouldn't have even gone to air yet.
Right.
So I interpreted that as like the 3rd sort of Dragon Ball story. So it's like you have Omega, you have the Giant, and then you have the Oolong copy planet.
Yeah.
And so with me, I was like, oh, the 3rd story, that's right when they twist. Like, that's right when, Para Brothers come out, and now we have this big ol' jump to, Doll Cult, and then Dr. Muse here, and then that to me is where I thought, I'm guessing. I thought that maybe that's what they meant by 3rd episode, but I could be totally wrong. But that made the most sense to me.
That sounds right. That's
where the twist happens.
That's made headcanon now. Taking a step from GT, maybe. I don't know. Here's a question for you. GT or Super, Lance?
I have a tweet that I made a few years ago, I think right around the time I'd finished my first GT watch through, that really sums up how I've always felt about these 2 series. And I'm going to share it with you right now if you don't mind.
I would love that. Yes, please.
I wrote, if Dragon Ball GT is a man blindly groping in the dark, trying to find his car, grabbing any hopeful thing he can lay his hands on, stepping in every pile of dog crap along the way, Dragon Ball Super is that car, stuck in the mud, spinning its wheels, going nowhere.
Wow.
Sorry, there's Peter Calamus laughing for you.
Thank you. The only incongruity with that analogy is that it implies the car actually wants to go somewhere when it is, in fact, perfectly content to stay right where it is. So my thing with GT and Super is that they are 2 very different shows. Mm-hmm. And they succeed and fail in very different ways. And so what it really comes down to is the preference. Like, do you want to be the car in the mud? And to some people, that can be a good thing. And it sounds pejorative when I say it that way. but you know,
some
I know
people like bad things, and that's great for them.
But you know, like if you want to come into a Dragon Ball series and feel very nostalgic and have a similar type of plot structure and the same big kind of bombastic Z battles that you saw as a kid on Toonami, then I can very much understand why Dragon Ball Super would be your thing and why Dragon Ball GT would be very off-putting. And I freely admit in that tweet that Dragon Ball GT is not necessarily cranking out a bunch of winners here. It is stepping in every pile of dog crap. But I can't help but feel, me personally, the way I tend to appreciate things is that I have Dragon Ball Z. So I can at least appreciate what Dragon Ball GT is trying to do. I like that it's trying to do something. And sometimes I like what it actually does. And it does sound like I'm damning with faint praise, and to an extent I am. But all that said, if I had to choose one, either GT or Super, I would choose GT every time because it feels like a very unique entry in the franchise. It might feel like a bootleg, like Ken said, but it doesn't just feel like more Dragon Ball Z. And what I've always loved about Dragon Ball, and what excited me the most when I first got the internet and moved away from those 53 Funimation dub episodes and found that there was more over here in the past and more over here in the future, was that everywhere I dipped my toe in felt very, very different. Everything always felt different. I remember just like bringing one of those great Saiyaman fan subtapes to my cousin who'd been following. I've been showing him like the Toonami stuff, and I popped in that fan sub, and all of a sudden it was Gohan in high school, and he was transfixed because it was like a totally different show. Mm-hmm. And so what I've always loved about Dragon Ball is that there is no status quo. Everything is always changing, and Super to me has always felt like, well, we fought a bad guy. Let's go have a barbecue at the Capsule Corporation now. And it feels very stuck in its own place. And it's only just in the past year or so started to feel like it's moving again. So yeah, I would take GT. And that's my very, very long answer there.
It wasn't part of the lightning round, so you're allowed to have long answers.
Oh, thank God.
I would agree because when I think about like Super, I really don't ever want to watch that show again. But as I'm watching GT, even in the moment, I'm like, I could see myself wanting to rewatch this in a few years.
I was really hoping you were going to change your mind there and be like, you know what? Actually, I would give Super another try.
No, like even from that first fan sub, there's a moment in the opening that always gives me chills, and that's when Goku, Pan, and Trunks fly towards the camera and all each do their little pose. Yeah. Because to me, I loved that combination just because you would never see that anywhere else. It was like, yeah, this is new, this is different, this is fresh. Again, maybe it didn't do the best stuff with it, but it's like you can never find that anywhere else. Yeah. That combination, that feeling.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if they did nail that combination of characters together, but they don't mesh well. I don't feel like they squandered the potential of that.
Well, I'm sure all of you have answered this. I'm sure all of you probably answered this before, but I am curious just because I'm here.
Right.
I mean, Ken's already given his answer, but I'm curious what the rest of you think about that.
Doug, what do you think?
Well, I like how you said it's basically GT's willing to step on shit to find a good story, and that effortness. I do agree. Like it does feel fresh. It does feel like it's at least trying to come up with different ideas, different plot outlines, and yeah, I think I would rather rewatch GT, even though we're watching it now. I still would rather rewatch it than Super.
We'll have to see how things go because
I'm definitely not interested in the Super manga at all, so we're good on that end.
We'll get you one of these days, Doug.
We got you to read AF. We'll get you to read Super.
We'll see how things go with GT. So far, I'm really loving my experience, but maybe also, I don't know, maybe I'm just the basic bitch that's like, I like Super. I started a rewatch and I got to the start of the Resurrection F stuff and then I fell off hard. But I want to get back into it. But I expected that to be a slog just because we had that movie right beforehand and then this came out and it was just very like, yeah, I just saw this and you're doing it way worse. So
yeah, I don't think I even actually watched the episodes of Super. Like I just skipped to after the movies were at that point and then kept up from there.
No,
maybe that's what we have to do with the manga for you, Doug, is just, all right, here you go. Here's Moro. Just whatever.
What was the plan that we had a long time ago that I think we were going to do that?
We had so many plans. It's, who knows?
1 page a day.
We got to watch GT first, Doug. All right.
Yeah. We're concentrating one thing at a time.
No, if I can be analytical for a second, because that's the only thing I know how to do in life, really. You mentioned, Doug, the Super manga, but has everybody or anybody read the Granola arc at this point?
They have.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what really struck me recently, I feel like I need stories that have movement. And I don't necessarily mean like physical movement, or we're going from one place to another, but like things happen. Things are all like, there's a new wrinkle. Now we thought this was what was happening. Now this is what's happening. There's a character moment. There's like a lot of like things need to happen and move. The story needs to have a direction and
like
and
cause and
places.
effect, like cause and effect,
yes.
kind of.
And it's strange. Like I feel like if I could pick two examples from the Dragon Ball history to choose as great examples of stories moving, it would be the Cell arc, and it would be where we are here in GT, the Baby arc, where it's just, again, I've been critical of both of those story arcs for various reasons, but when it comes to the story moving, those go all over the place. Like there are going to be 2 artificial humans coming out, and then we're going to go to the place, and then wait, I thought we could find them. They don't have any key, and then they can take out energy through their palms, and now it's not a fight anymore. Now we're going to have to find the laboratory, and like things are just always changing, and it's the same thing in the Baby arc. Even if it's just in both those cases because I'm scrambling to find a new direction for my story. As opposed to I'm planning all these twists and turns, there is still a lot of movement. Same thing with GT. It's like, we're looking for the Dragon Balls. Well, no, our Dragon Ball was stolen, and now we're on this machine planet, and our robot buddy is a double agent, except that he's not. And that gets a bit muddled, but you get what I mean. But compare that to the Granola arc, where it's, hey, there's a guy who wants to fight you. Okay, let's go to the place where the fight happens.
I knew it.
And now we're here for 6 months. The end.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Read that.
It's not all bad, Doug.
Yeah.
I do enjoy following, for the most part, the Dragon Ball Super manga, and I'm sorry if I'm messing up whatever pitch you guys are trying to do to Doug. I'm sorry if I am undoing all that conditioning right now.
The thing I love about your videos is that it always seems like you're ripping the story elements apart, but it always feels like you're doing it out of love for the series. So it's a perfect balance that you've hit.
What's great, Lance, is watching Dissection after we've recorded our episode. And I'm like, I wonder if Lance is going to jump on this point or not. And then you don't, but you hit different stuff. And so it's fun seeing like what we tear into and then what you tear into, and then like being like, where did we line up? Where did we not? Like there was Lance, you and I both jumped on the pond with the deer thing as being like, this. I feel like this was talked up more than maybe should have been. And there was something else that I jumped on last time that was not in the Dissection, but I can't remember what it was. I was just thinking about it earlier.
I forget, but I remember
I'm dying to know what this is.
I remember how you were talking about like Goten being slapped by Chi-Chi, and like you going on and on about it. But I think when I talked about it, I'm like, that was funny. And then we moved on.
I know I did go on for a while about how Baby was able to get ahead of everyone and take over that derelict ship.
No, I think I might have seen a clip on Twitter of that. I feel like I watched that. Was that something you guys made into a clip? Because I feel like I remember
I think
hearing
so,
about
yeah.
that recently.
Oh, and then the Saiyans like not having the same appetite as Goku, and
Yeah, I definitely saw that one. That was something I almost talked about, but I had too many other things. So I remember picking up on that and thinking because when I did the Boo arc, I had made a comment on how this used to just be a Goku trait, now all of a sudden they're making this into every Saiyan just has to eat everything, and so when I did see that scene in the hospital of Trunks and Pan giving like the typical reaction of wow, he's eating a lot. I was like, wait a second, but I kind of liked that just because I was like, okay, thankfully somebody's not a stereotype. It's a different stereotype, but I can live with that. But since I already gone on like, oh yeah, the joke is Goku's eating and the joke is Goku's afraid of needles for an episode and a half, I was like, I've said my piece on this. I'm done.
Well, yeah, that makes Goku less special too when you make it that just all Saiyans have that appetite. But to bring it back is like there's the Goku we love.
Doug, to undo some damage about the super manga real quick. What makes Granola so interesting is reading Moro, in which we understand that really it was a Toyotaro kind of focused gig, to him suddenly being shackled by Toriyama.
What do you mean?
Toriyama's influence is much greater in the Granola arc.
He has some say. I didn't know he had any say in that. I don't keep up with that.
Much to my dismay, and you may see an old man losing his magic. So, and I don't mean Moro.
Oh no.
Well, I'm also really sorry if I jumped on someone's media that they enjoy and.
Don't be yucking my yums here.
That's what we're here to do. Don't be yucking my yums.
I came into that story arc really hyped. I was defending it for a while. I was like, I'm really excited where this is going. Obviously I had some issues with the way they handled certain father of a certain character. But even just ignoring that, I just thought that it was too kind of Dragon Ball Z movie-esque, where it's like, here's the guy, let's go fight the guy, and then that. I think what lost me is when they came back from the flashback, because that felt like an actual beat at least, where it's like, okay, we're stopping the fighting, we're gonna retreat, and now here's some important information. And for me, it was like, one, it wasn't that important, and it didn't really give any insight into what. And then it was just like, okay, now the fight's gonna start again. I'm like, oh god, no! That's when I got lost. I was like, oh god, we're gonna start the fight again? No, please do something.
Which you should never want to say about your shonen manga.
Because up until that point, it was like the fight was creative enough each chapter that I was like, oh, there's something cool in there. Like I'm not over the moon about it. But I'm also like, it's sustaining me. I'm like, okay, I'm getting to the end of the chapter and going, okay, that was neat. That was neat. This month was neat. And that was neat. But yeah, it was just like, for some reason, when they came back to the fight after they'd stopped, I'm like, oh god, no.
Is that because it went somewhere intriguing and then back to
it went somewhere different. Yeah, it went somewhere different. Right. At least it was different. And then it was like, oh, we're going back to the same fight again? Like it was just like one of those pacing things where it just felt like I've seen enough. Like we need to do something new now. But I know we're like getting way off into a completely different section of the franchise, and I'm sorry if I pulled you in a direction that was just.
I'm really ready to just keep talking about granola.
I was gonna say, I'll step out and then you guys can continue this.
We'll move on, but Lance, I do just need you to say, in case there was any damage, tell Doug he should read the super manga.
Well, yeah, you should definitely read the super manga. I mean, you haven't lived until you've read the super manga.
Okay.
Until you've...
That's okay. Sarcasm, Lance. Really? No. Okay.
I do read it every month, and I'm loving they're doing the superhero stuff right now because that's been my favorite Dragon Ball thing in years.
Yeah.
And I don't know why everybody's all unhappy that they're recapping it. I'm just glad that the manga's not skipping over stuff anymore.
I wasn't happy at first, but it's gotten better.
Some months I'm like, ugh, Other months I'm like, all right.
Oh, I'm just because like that's the one thing that's never gonna feel right about the super manga is that it's missing whole arcs, and I'm like, I can't just sit down and read a complete story. It's like, stop skipping the story.
Wait, what do you mean it's skipping? What is it skipping?
Skip Resurrection F and it skipped Broly.
Yeah.
Oh, like assuming you've already like know this from the anime, from the movies.
Yeah, basically.
Lance,
Yeah,
what are you
there's
talking
just,
about?
like-
They have retold Broly 3 times now.
Haven't you had enough?
Well, like, if they were just doing like the same thing as, but like, the manga is like gone in such a different fork. Like, I could just go back to the fact that the animated series never explains how Pilaf and company are kids.
Right.
Because like they kind of, I guess they forgot, or they expected you to have seen the movie of the same events, where it's like, just give me one full coherent version of this story, just one. I don't care which one, but it's like you can't expect me, to be like, oh well, just watch the movie if it's clear these continuities aren't compatible with each other.
When someone comes to you like,
key ways.
hey, I want to watch or read Super. How can I do it? Oh, you got to read the manga, then you got to go to the anime for this part, then come back to the manga, like that whole thing.
I keep a text document ready in case I'm ever asked. Yeah.
I was about to say, I don't think you could just watch the movies, like, Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, and then go Broly and then Superhero. But I'm like, no, that's right, because in Broly they're like, oh yeah, the Tournament of Power. I'm like, damn it, no, they do mention something else. But oh well, it is what it is. So I've got some lightning round questions, some boilerplate stuff, but it's gonna help us understand you more. We've given these answers, but we'll probably join in and give them as well. So lightning round, Lance. Favorite character? Go.
The lingerie salesperson for episode 29 of Dragon Ball.
All right.
I'll have to look that one up.
What about it? They just have great taste. Good salesperson. What's the deal?
I don't think any context. I don't think more is needed. We understand.
No, I mean, I feel like I can afterwards, but I thought this is a lightning round, so I thought I'd just
fair.
Come on,
spit it out.
Okay.
We can come back to it. I'd be happy to.
Making your
fair.
own rules, Randy.
I know. Mine's Vegeta. Ken.
Piccolo.
Goku.
Doug. Great.
Basic
now
bitch
this-
over here.
Main
lot to love.
character.
Used to be
next-
Gohan, then Trunks, to bounce back to Goku, but whatever.
As it goes. So next one is favorite form. So it could be any sort of, thing like that, because the next one is favorite transformation, which is different. Transformation is going to be like the moment that the thing happened. But form first.
I was going to say the form they fill out to register at the tournament.
When they introduce the child tournament, keep these kids
That's me
out
punching
of my
Lance.
right in the gut. That's a good answer. That's the answer,
It
Ken.
Ken.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
Lightning round.
that's fine.
Lightning round.
If you have a real answer, Lance. I'll
Randy
allow.
doesn't know what lightning round means. He just says things
No.
and then wants elaborate details.
I don't know why, but it's the first thing that popped to mind, Super Saiyan 4.
All right. Doug.
Yeah, same.
Okay. I'm going to say Super Saiyan 3, just to be different. Favorite transformation?
Bluma becoming a carrot.
Oh.
Ken.
Super Saiyan 3 transformation Falconer version. Doug gets it.
I've never heard this piece of music before.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, look at my figures, Golden Uzaru.
But the moment.
Transformation into Golden Ozaru?
Goku or
yeah,
Vegeta?
No,
Yeah.
Goku, not Vegeta.
Okay. All right.
Because Vegeta's not like, this feels familiar. Like, I wish he said this feels familiar when he had Goku in his hands, but he didn't.
Right.
At least in the dub, he didn't. I haven't seen the Japanese one yet.
We'll get there. I'm going to say, this is tough. It's a toss-up, so I'm just going to go with Trunks' Super Saiyan transformation in the TV special.
Ooh, yeah.
Goosebumps every time. Favorite Dragon Ball game? Do you play them Dragon Ball games, Lance?
I've never played one I care about.
Ouch.
Nice.
I feel like
There's so
I would.
many, too.
I feel like I would like Attack of the Saiyans if I ever played it, but since I haven't.
That's my answer. 100%.
Ken.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 Greatest Hits version on PS2.
Ooh,
Whoa,
nice.
there you go.
I think
own
my
it.
other answer would have been like Shin Budokai for the PSP. That one I played put a lot of hours in.
I'm going to go with Sparking Meteor / Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on the Wii specifically.
Wow. Openly admitting you owned a Wii. That's brave of you, man.
I'm pretty sure millions of people owned a Wii.
Dozens of millions of us.
Dozens of us. There are dozens.
I was going to say hundreds of millions, but I'm like, no, I don't think it's not that high.
I
So let's
still
pick
own a
a
Wii.
Yeah,
I
man.
own 2 Wiis. One of them's a Wii U.
I own them too. I'm sorry.
My Wii U is no longer a Wii because it won't read Wii discs anymore.
Oh, no. Favorite Dragon Ball song?
Well, I couldn't think of a silly answer for that one, so I wrote Blue Velvet.
Excellent choice. Ken?
Kiseki no Big Fight.
Doug?
Which one's that one?
The movie 10 ending.
movie?
That song is better than that movie deserves.
Whatever the ending song was in Dragon Ball Movie 3. You know what I'm talking about, Randy?
Marigoto?
I think that's the one. Yeah, that one was great.
Dang it. I suppose I have to
No, I
have
think
an
that
answer.
was the RoboCop theme actually. So I don't know. Double check.
Jeez. It's either
It turns out the entire score to RoboCop was just hummed. And I don't know if you've seen the movie or not. The entire score is just guy in the background going da 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 da.
We might get claimed on this then.
I thought
It
you were going to
really
say
sets the mood.
plagiarized. I'm like, yeah, for this series, you might be right.
Jeez, I'd probably say Dan Dan. It's just so good. Otherwise, there's so many choices.
Lightning round, Randy. Lightning round.
Favorite go-to episode? If you're like, I'm really itching for some Dragon Ball, I'm gonna pop in an episode. This is the one. What is it?
I just pop open a volume of the manga because again, like I said, it's just faster to flip through to find what I'm looking for.
Okay,
He takes the
you're
manga and
too
puts it in the
cool.
DVD player.
I know it's not that I'm cool. It's because I'm that lame.
We all had our own go-to episodes here, but as to recap, I was 120 of Z.
I
Ken.
was 179 of Z.
What
What other series could it be?
For me, it's the Trunks intro because it's different from like what I feel is like really good episode I want to revisit, or what is one like I just feel like popping on and just getting the spirit of Dragon Ball that I remember in it.
You can't steal mine because yours was the Vegeta Raccoon fight. It was like
I just
60
explained why it's
something.
not, but yeah,
Well-
different reasons, same bread of butter. Don't analyze my sayings, just move on.
I need that on a shirt.
Well, that was all the questions I had in the lightning round, unless any of you others have lightning round questions of your own.
Lightning.
No?
I got
Tifa
thunder
or
questions, but
I would if we have time and it's not against the rules. I would love to provide some context now, just because I feel bad that I might have trolled you a little bit.
All right, fine. You now have an amount of time unspecified to explain yourself.
Is it like you're gonna like randomly go, time's up in the middle while I'm talking? Is that what you mean by unspecified?
I promise I won't. I might.
he's got a whole soundboard. He'll do it.
He'll do it.
Okay. Well, I admit I got a little bit silly because I wrote down all my answers when you gave me the outline earlier because I didn't want to be unprepared. But I admit I think I was trying to be earnest, and then I got to favorite form and favorite transformation, and I admit for the life of me I didn't understand the difference.
That's fair.
Like now that I've heard you guys give your answers, I'm like, you mean form versus a sequence in the show.
I
or
like
the-
your understanding better of what the form is the Tenkaichi Budokai
So
form.
so it's like sitting there trying to parse out what the difference was. Like I was like form, and then the first thing I thought of was, like, what if somebody fills out a form? That'd be funny. So then I started like doing just silly answers.
Goku paying his
just for fun.
taxes.
But no, for the first question, the lingerie salesperson, they're like in episode 29. I think it's 29. It's right after the Budokai ends. There's this filler scene where Kame Sennin goes to a lingerie store and like tries to buy underwear and makes the salesperson very uncomfortable. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I worked at Victoria's Secret for 4 years in my 20s. And I do remember there was this one time, just for fun, I took a screen cap of the two of them in the same shot together, and like posted it on Facebook, and like made a quip about how I was going into work, and this is what my job is, basically. So I've always sort of I've sort of associated myself with this young lady who's very, very uncomfortable.
Life imitates art.
But in terms of like real characters, I don't know. I was always like a really big Gohan person as a kid. I have a soft spot for Yamcha because I feel like it's dumped on way too much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He has a lot of potential.
We love Yamcha in this house. Yes,
we do love Yamcha in my house too. And then I really like Videl. I just it's a fun character.
Yeah.
So you have like a power couple of favorite characters then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't really think about that. Yeah, you're right.
But you don't like Pawn and GT, huh?
I try to. There are times that I do.
That girl
when she's not beating up people,
Defenseless
I like her.
robots.
Yeah. She's to focus that energy more on Baby or Doltaki or somebody.
Right.
Yeah,
Agreed.
definitely Doltaki. God.
But now I'm trying to think of what now that I understand what form and transformation mean.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what that is. Because my favorite transformation sequence, I think, would probably be Trunks's in the animated Trunks special, not the manga version,
Correct answer.
but the Trunks special.
Because it's your answer as well, Randy.
There really isn't
Yeah,
one in the manga version.
Yeah, exactly. There really isn't. It's just, it is.
And I do struggle with favorite form because I feel like I'm at the jaded point of my life where I just don't like forms anymore, and I'm sick of people having them. And that sounds like the worst Dragon Ball answer to give, but it's like I'm just so tired of them now that I just want them to go away.
Yeah.
I had that phase much younger in life. I want to say it was like, I think I was playing Budokai 3, and I'm like, all these forms and the hair color change, I think this is stupid, and I don't like it. So anytime I played, you could equip capsules to your character, and I took out all the transformation ones, and I just put in stat boosts, and I'm like, nope, I'm strong from the get-go. Screw changing hair.
And you put on Yakon so that if your opponent transforms, it sucks all his energy away and he can't do Ki blasts.
Wow.
I didn't know that was a thing you could even do.
Me neither. Forgot about that.
Big Budokai 3 meta head over here.
You do Yakon, Heart Virus, and Vaccine. So you don't lose health, but your opponent does. And then anytime your opponent transforms, they lose Ki. So
Wow.
easy way to grind out those tournaments.
See, that's one of those reasons why I couldn't really give much of an answer to the video game thing, because so many of them are fighting games. I've never been good at fighting games. But now that you said, I do remember my go-to. I mean, like, because I'm not good at them. I know, like, when I played Street Fighter, I always get Chun-Li. And I always do like just her kick in the corner, just her rapid kick. And then like, so when I play the Dragon Ball, the Budokai games, I get Yamcha, and I'm pretty sure I remember this to this day. It's square, 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 circle to do the Rogafufu Ken, and you just tap circle over and over again, and he
Just
beat
kept
the crap
doing that?
out of anybody. Like, Yamcha was amazing in that game for me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Well, I love those
Especially in
games
the-
because they weren't really like the Street Fighter-esque. It's when you get into like Super Dragon Ball or Fighter Z that it's a lot more like those Street Fighter games that I'm horrible at.
Street Fighter
Well, see,
mains.
that-
Who we playing?
Ken.
Chun-Li.
Zangief.
Oh, okay.
Well, see that's the thing for me, is that I remember back in the day on the podcast on Daizenshu X and / Kanzenshu the podcast, Mike would always call the Dragon Ball games the dial a combo as opposed to what Street Fighter apparently was. I still, like, having played both of them, I don't understand the difference to this day. And you saying that reminded me of that. Like, maybe today I can finally find out what that even means. Don't you dial a combo in all the games? You push buttons and you do a move, right? Isn't that what all fighting games are?
The
Right.
the separation is in Street Fighter, you are doing things like quarter circle forward, so going from down to forward and then hitting punch, and that's going to do a move, versus Budokai, which is I want to do a Kamehameha. Well, I've got to hit punch, 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 and then energy, and then it does it. So you're like, I don't know. That's at least how I've always interpreted it, and that's the difference. I'm like, yeah, but all video games, you're just pressing buttons.
They're all doll combos.
Yeah, exactly.
Vampire Survivors, you really aren't pressing buttons.
That's true. You're
Wow,
just
he found
around.
the one.
Because you just
Good job.
survive? Is that why?
You just walk around. Yeah.
It's a fantastic game. I love it.
Very simple, but very rewarding and enjoyable.
Challenging.
Just like this conversation has been very rewarding and enjoyable, but I've got to bring it to a close. So we will be jumping back into our GT retrospective of regular things next time we're covering episodes 28 to 31. But for right now, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back to go over some tweets that people sent in, and we'll close it out. So stick around. We'll be right back. And we're back, and we're here with some tweets from you guys to see what you guys had to say about this episode where we were going to just chill out, talk about some GT with a good friend of ours. So, Doug, what's the first one we got?
First one comes from Jake Pay. He says, I haven't been watching along since I won't rewatch GT, but just letting you nerds know, I'm still listening every week. Thank you. Keep it up, gang. Also, make Doug read the Dragon Ball Super Manag. I would read the Manag, but I don't know where I can get that.
Menage a super.
Guess, yeah, I was just... You know
Well,
what, Jake? I promise I'll read the Manag for you, but if I can find it. But that's it. No more other promises for you.
And also, you should watch GT. It's a good time.
I was in your boat, Jake, where I'm like just reluctant, but watching it again, I'm finding new life into it. With I'm enjoying it.
Guys, maybe Jake Pay just rewatched it and doesn't want to do it again.
You're right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're just nerds out here.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt there.
Thanks,
Lance,
Jake.
Yeah, Lance, you want to take Sabin? I'm going to get it wrong, and they're going to be mad at me, and that's okay.
I'm gonna say Sabin.
It's Saban.
You see, look, here's the thing. You guys could have not said anything, and I could have said it, and there's nothing on you because I'm just
And
a
it would have
guest.
just been, yeah.
There would have been no consequences. No, like this person couldn't have come and complained to you about it because none of you said it, but you just had to go and say it anyway.
I'd like the
I will take a
record to
bullet
show.
for my guest.
The record will show I said nothing.
There's no transcript for Ken anywhere there.
All right, well, Sabin says, need to know everyone's thoughts on the yellow pants. Any answer besides that they look great is wrong. Well, at least he's letting us make our own decisions.
Yeah.
Just informing us what his opinion
Letting us
of
know
that
that it's
opinion
wrong if it's not great. Yeah, gotcha.
So I guess I will start if assuming he wants
Sure.
to know assuming this person wants to know my opinion on the yellow pants.
Heck yeah.
They're okay. I have nothing against them. I'm glad if we are to assume that Goku ran off with Oob at the end of the previous series and just went to train. I'm glad he took another pair of pants with him. And
It was laundry day, okay?
And I'm glad that there is, like, Goku usually wears outfits that are all of one color. I mean, aside from like the accessories, but it's like, tops and bottoms always be the same color. So hey, good on GT for giving Goku an outfit where he actually has to coordinate colors.
Because I
Good
guess
for him.
it's like less of a outfit, a costume, and more of just like his everyday going out kind of clothes. So he's not matching. He's not wearing a gi like it's all orange or whatever. So I think it complements the Super Saiyan 4 look very well. So I'll say that about it. I like it.
Yeah, I was going to say I like it more with Super Saiyan 4 than in base form, and I don't like it in Path to Power.
Oh.
I don't think it has it. Like, doesn't Goku go inside and be like, hold on,
Yes.
I'm going to change, and then he comes out with the yellow pants?
Yeah.
Yes.
Does
Yeah,
he?
he starts out the movie in his total blue
Yeah.
outfit. And then right before they leave to go on their adventure, he runs into his house and he comes out with the yellow GT pants and he also with the sort of hanging top as opposed to like the one piece
Yeah.
outfit, and he wears the GT outfit for the rest of the movie.
Interesting.
Hold on, guys. I got to tie into this new anime that just started.
I gotta plug in. I got some merchandise.
We gotta cross promote, okay? We're not.
Yeah.
It's all about the Benjamins or whichever Benjamin is on the end. Benjamin-san.
Benjamin-san. I'm Team Yellow Pants. I'm all here for it. So
Cool.
I like it. Ken, why don't you hit us with one?
We've got here from B. Cruzel at Lantern Cruzel, who says, pick 3 GT characters, elements, or transformations and place them in Super. What do you pick? For brevity's sake, I'm going to say let's just kind of like pick an idea from GT and place it in Super.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Lance, you want to start? Because I'm gonna put it on you while I think of my answer.
I was gonna say please come back to me, but apparently I've.
I'll go ahead and go.
Bus.
I always have loved the idea of the evil dragons, and I think it would be cool to see them again. Like we talked about when we were reviewing AF, how much I really like the idea of like the dragon dimension or the world of the dragon realm. I think they call it.
You do love that. You do.
I do love that, and of course that's an AF and Heroes idea, but. Just the dragons in general. I mean, just super Yixing Long here. I love his design. He's so grossly over the top, and I would love to see like a character like this in Super.
I would have preferred. You're right. I would have preferred that over than like more gods. Like, oh, here's another hierarchy of gods that we have to know now. Yeah. Just a different type of gods with dragons. That'd be great. I'm gonna say they should include a Guru in Super. That's it. Just plop that guy in.
I love him. I love him. So I agree with this.
Have a stuffed animal Giru with baby Pan right now, just like as a baby.
That'd be good.
Love that.
And it's like ripped to shreds.
Yeah. I will say, just as a random thing, make a Hellfighter 17 a thing, because I know we haven't gotten there. But I think that with Super, as things have gone, and like 17 winning the tournament, if you had another 17 come and like forcibly fuse with this guy to make an evil, more stronger 17, I think you'd have a little bit more of an emotional response, because people are on the 17 train more so now than I think they would have been at that point in GT.
Well, I would say, despite the very strong opinions I gave earlier in this broadcast, or perhaps because of the very strong opinions I gave in this broadcast, I'm looking forward to, and we've already started to see it, Pawn have a bigger role in Super, and to get to grow into the kind of character she was in GT, but maybe not be quite as needlessly angry all the time.
This Pawn has Piccolo in her life. And there's really no indication that GT's Pawn knows Piccolo at all.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Huh. Speaking of looking forward to, I'll take this last one from Cage, who says, what future GT story events or moments are you most looking forward to revisiting? I know that we're coming up on the Super Saiyan 4 showing up. I'm going to steal that one because I'm excited for that.
I was going to say, off of you, Randy, from the last question, 17. I think when I first watched that, I was already like shut off. I'm like, this whole series is dumb, so I don't care. But I think now, with a more open mind, going through this little by little, I think I'll be able to appreciate the story more, or what they're trying to do at least, and maybe enjoy it more. And to stop looking at it like, how does this work? That's dumb, and just enjoy the ride of it.
Right.
I'm looking forward to the final episode, because I have always loved it, and it always brings me to tears. And I feel like with the proper context of having seen the entire series go up to that episode, that I'm going to be weeping like I was at the end of Marley and Me.
And I haven't seen that still.
Don't watch it. And so that's my answer, the final episode.
Yeah, I'm going to be a wreck.
I feel like I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if you guys are doing this in the same broadcast order, but I'm looking forward to the TV special.
Oh yeah,
which is going to be after I finish this story arc is when it aired. I've only seen it once so far, and I seem to remember enjoying it. I was definitely pleased as punch to find out that the sidekick, I think his name was Puck, was when I realized that he was Furuya Toru,
Oh yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure the first time he yelled the name Goku, I'm like, wait, that's Yamcha! Oh my god! And it's the most Furuya has to do in this entire series. I'm like, oh, that is so nice.
Wow.
But it's just a nice, I remember it being just a nice, fun standalone story. I don't know if I ever thought it really needed to exist, but like we were talking about before, it's just something unique to GT, and if nothing else, GT is unique.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, so
Ooh, well, that's gonna be
my
a fun
first
time.
time.
I've only seen it dubbed, so yeah, I'm looking forward to Japanese.
I have one other bonus thing for my Super Saiyan 4 thing that I'm looking forward to that I just remembered that is going to be nice to get to, is that the episodes preceding it, spoiler alert, just because it'll jump scare you, Golden Ozaru Goku, it's just Nozawa doing weird screaming noises. They didn't do any vocal filters at all, and it sounds horrendous. Yeah, it's so
Are there
bad.
a few? Is there a little bit of filtering on it? Like
There might have been.
Double, don't they double track it with like some actual
like
Ozaru roars?
They might, but they don't pitch
Auto-tune
it
or
down or anything.
they
Oh,
recorded
yeah.
the
It's like
real
her
Ozaru.
voice is definitely.
Yeah, it's a lot of that, and I'm like, oh,
But there
God,
is.
I hate
But I'm
it.
pretty sure there's more to the mix than just that. But that is the dominant. It's definitely the
No
dominant part of
way.
it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
because like when
what the choice was
Gohan
for
transformed in Z, it's just like I don't know if they're stock roaring and screaming or whatever that they were using for it, but it's not that. It's just Nozawa. Yeah, just this loud, high pitched
Wow.
scream. Like, oh, I don't like this. This is not pleasant to
It
my
was a
ears.
choice.
I've
It
made
was
it
a
through
choice.
Nozawa's baby
What does the dub
Gohan.
do?
I think it just does ape, like just noises, like nothing too wild. Well, actually, opposite. It's wild because it's a wild animal. But yeah,
I've made it.
Very civilized animal.
I've made it through Nozawa's baby Gohan in Kakarot, so I can take. I think I can take a little golden Ozaru.
That's true. That's fair.
Rainey's gonna
Well-
turn like Broly Z style and like, God, that crying, I can't stand it.
We'll see, because we'll get there sooner than you think. So that's going to bring it to the end of this episode. Lance, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
It,
so much.
it's such a blast. Where can people find you and the great stuff that you do?
Oh, you can find me at YouTube under MistareFusion, MistareFusion, one word, camel case. And then also I have the social medias. I have a Facebook / MistareFusion, and at the site formerly known as Twitter at MistareFusion. Is there anywhere else? I think
Patreon.
I think that's it for it. Yes, I wanted to ease people into that. I never want to. but yes.
If anyone deserves it, you do. So I'm definitely helping you plug that.
Well, thank you. If you watch and like what you watch and want to help support it, then yes, there is also patreon.com/MistareFusion, MistareFusion. So yeah, just any place you want to go to and add a MistareFusion onto the end of it, you might find me. So
Perfect.
thank you so much for having me on the show. I've had a lot of fun talking with you guys tonight.
Yeah, it's been
Oh,
great.
good. Yeah, same here. Total blast. And thank you, everybody out there, for listening, for watching. We love interacting with you and keeping you in the conversation, talking about our favorite franchise in the world. You can X at us. You can email us. Ken is getting visibly upset, and that's okay, because that was the goal. We're at We Got a Pod. You can also, like I said, email us at wegottapod@gmail.com.
Thank you to Rifti Beats for letting us use this track, Kakarot theme hip hop trap remix. You can find that track and other great music by Rifti on his SoundCloud. Ken, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Detective X on Twitter.
Randy?
Don't know what that site is, but you can find me Threads, Blue Sky, X. It's at Saber_Breaker. Just check that out, and you'll find me there.
And I'm Jabaz Doug, as the video people can see right here. I don't think I showed this off last time, but I did. I definitely did.
You did.
I made
We
reference
talked
to
about
little
your-
D. That's right.
We
So-
talked about your little D.
Audio people have no idea because we didn't even
mention-
talk about it. And so what Doug was holding up is he has had his name made, and it's awesome. He's had his name made in the style of the Dragon Ball Z font, and it says Jabaz Doug. And it has two 1-star balls.
But the guy the person on Etsy who customized it didn't let me put input. So this D and the Z are like too small for my liking, but I think it still looks pretty cool.
It looks good.
Yeah, thank you.
Could you pick your balls?
I we should go back and
This is a family show, Lance.
I didn't nothing. They put that there, and that I'm fine with. This one, I'm like, that's too random.
It's a strange
I think it looks nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, of course, thanks for listening, everyone. Make sure you subscribe. There are bells. If you see a bell, ring it, hit it. That'll do stuff. I'm not sure exactly what. I never hit the bells myself, but just hit the bell if you see one.
We won't blame you if you don't.
We'll find out. Leave a review. Thumbs down, thumbs up, thumb sideways. We want to see everything, and we want to know everything that you thought about these episodes. And then we'll have it out with you in the comments section. So, guys, also leave reviews on Spotify. And Randy puts up all sorts of questions on Spotify. You can. We'll
like
remember
and
to
stuff.
answer and talk about and everything. So, thanks as always for watching or listening. Catch you later.
Bye.